he went behind my granddad's back and sold the house and the land. And then one day, yes, sir. One day, we just saw some people came and they was like, "Hey, man, we don't own this land and house, so y'all got 30 days to leave." To meet someone on the game that lives in a whole different country, especially Russia, because they always say Russians hate every single person, especially black people, yada yada yada. And when I was in the situation myself, I found out that it was actually a lie. It was just like propaganda. It's how the media controls and put things out there. And we're in a racist area. They don't like black people, so make sure you don't stay out after certain times. Which now I figure out that she was talking about sundown. So there's a thing in America that's called a sundown city after 6 o'clock. If you're black and a white T person see you, they have all authority to take you out.
Daza, WhatsApp Radio.
Answer by top tier, you with the big stage name. And Papa Biggie bringing championship game. We make waves, digital and air. From interviews at to podcasts where you can share.
That's a radio.
That's a WhatsApp radio.
We stream it live, make the whole place glow.
Good afternoon, welcome to That's a WhatsApp Radio. So, for some reason, man, this young man just spiritually buck up. So, me and him are reason people, and I decide say, alright, yo, I'm gonna just run an interview and ask him a few things, because he been tell me some things, and I decide, say, alright, he would have fit to get an interview. So, state your name for the record, sir.
Yeah, so my name is LVX Tragic on TikTok, but it's Alex. For everyone that's out there, shout out to Daza right here, man. This guy right, he's doing something really good. And you gotta appreciate greatness because there's not a lot of us out there that's doing stuff like this anymore. So yeah, shout out to Daza, YouTube. Shout out to everyone that's gonna come in, like the live, and support my boy.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, country boy came from Jamaica, down in Westmoreland. Grew up pretty fast. By the age of 5, lost my dad, and it was only my mom. So we had to put on the big boy pants pretty early growing up. And while she was working, I had to stay with my grandparents because they're the one that technically raised me and all that. So we had to make accommodations as growing up. Then, someone came in, married my mom. We moved to the town. We moved to Spanish Town. And then from there, that's when things started to take off. Went
So,
to Other Marty.
at
Say that
what
again.
at what age you moved to Spanish Town?
I moved down there when was 8. So the guy, so that's I call him my dad too, because he's basically the one that raised me.
Yeah,
So after my pops passed away, I'd say about 7 months, 7 months to a year, he came around to stay down there for a year, and then by 7, 8 years old, we moved to the town.
so
But the main re
life in Westmoreland now at a young
uh-huh.
age. How was the country life there? What
Man,
what was the
country.
living condition? What was the living condition? Were you what I call low class, middle class? What was the living condition there for you?
Living condition it was low class, but I'm the type of person I'm always grateful for what I have. And how we actually left from the country to the city, we had a family house, right? My grandfather's brother, he went behind my granddad's back and sold the house and the land. And then one day, yes, sir, one day, we just saw some people came and they was like, "Hey, man, we don't own this land and house, so y'all got 30 days to leave."
Yo,
And
that
this was and this was literally right around the time, "Hey baby, how you doing? You just woke up?" Okay. But
life.
yeah, wifey just woke up, y'all. But this was the thing, we literally had 30 days. And this is so crazy because it was literally about 2 weeks after my mom and my new dad got married that we got that notice. Mind you, he was in town at the time working on one of the houses, and she told him, And he was like, you know what? We ain't gonna wait the 30 days. I'll be down in 5 days. I'm gonna move y'all to the city. So that's was how it went. But it's the unfortunate with family members and all that stuff. They tend to do things behind your back. They say that they're with you, but they're really against you.
So
So
all life with them. I mean, since you have moved away and now you're in America, all life with them. Do you talk to them? Do you communicate with them? Do you forgive?
um I mean I forgive them for all of that, but some things that happened with my granddad. May his soul rest in peace. He passed away 2 months ago at 93 years old. But after I came to America, there was just a whole lot of things going on, right? I was the only one because I was the only one that was overseas that was trying to help him. All my cousins and all that, they were all somewheres in America, Europe. There was other places in the Caribbean like Trinidad, Antigua, you name it. And no one wanted to help. So I took the responsibility up on my own self and was like, you know what? Since I'm your favorite grandson, grandpa, I'm gonna do what I need to do. And I'm gonna make sure you come to America before you pass away. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. We are
So
going through the
back to the
process and
youth,
all that.
the reach of foreign. How was life like
Yeah.
when you moved to Spanish Town? You moved to the city. Was it a rural era? Was it no, not rural? Was it a ghetto era? Was it what era did you move to in Spanish Town?
Sir, Johnville, me they move go still,
Yeah.
Bad man place that still. So, life in town was different.
Yeah.
And
So
what was so
how do you make the transition though? As a country youth, you got a town now, so you know say we are going like garrison now. We have to see different things, different place, different environment. How do you adapt?
So I'm a visual learner, right? So I've always been the type of person that just
Okay.
figure out things and just look at my surrounding and try to fit in. Coming from country, for the first 3 months, all them usually call me countryman.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I was like, hell no, I want to be called no damn countryman in a Spanish town. So I had to change up some things. Changing up some things led to me going into the system, unfortunately. But it's just a part of life when you were a young kid growing up, especially when you don't have your actual father figure in your life. You start to disobey and rebel against things that your mom and all that stuff be doing. So that's how that happened. But the to be honest, it wasn't all that bad.
Did
Because
you get
we
into
were
any trouble? Did you get yourself in any trouble as a young youth, naive and a country youth? Did you get yourself, affiliated with any, gangsters or
I mean, yeah, when I was in Spanish Town, but I was more of like a outsider person in. I never really directly got involved with whatever they're doing with, especially with them system gun and all them some there.
Yeah.
The done for the place at the time, well, my stepdad, they were cool people, all right? So the Don always come around, talk to me and all them stuff, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna keep you around, but I don't want you to get directly involved with this and that. I'll have you do certain plays, but nothing to deal with where you're gonna do dirty work. So I was like, okay, cool. Because I was a very spontaneous person, but I was also smart at the same time too. So because I was young, when you send me to do certain things, people are looking at me as a kid and be like, okay, this is just a kid. That ain't gonna happen. But that's how the game is running now. So everyone is looking out for they ain't gonna judge your face and be like, oh, this person ain't gonna do shit. All right. Excuse me for my language, YouTube. My bad, my bad. But yeah, they're not gonna just look at you now and say, oh, you're a kid, so this X, Y, and Z is not gonna happen. But one night he sat down with me and he was like, man, I feel like my time is coming. And to be honest, I've never told anyone this, but I'm actually scared, bro. I'm actually scared. I be out here every night in the streets watching over y'all, but I'm actually scared. And he was like, I know it's gonna happen, so I'm gonna just tell you from now. When I do go, there's gonna be two people that's gonna come to you. They're gonna try to give you X, Y, and Z. Just
Yeah.
tell them no. And what was so funny, a week later we had a fish fry, and they took him out in broad daylight. 2 days
Yeah.
later,
So, really,
two
this
da
man actually predict that in time will come, and it come for true.
Yep.
Wow.
So he was very respected, and he was also very hated at the same time.
That's it with
in a
Danz.
John's Road. So everyone knew of him. There's people that feared him, and then there was people that was trying to get him for years. I ain't gonna call no name.
So yeah, you don't have to call him. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
school. I was all right. You went there at a young age. What was school
hmm
was like? What was school like?
I mean, so with school now, I was a troublemaker in school. Hey, baby, how you doing? I was a troublemaker in school, bro.
Yeah.
I was one of the smartest kids, so I'd be like, I don't really need to sit in class and listen to nothing y'all got going on. Just give me the test and I'll pass that. And that's literally what I do all the time. So I'd always get in trouble. I always go to the dean office or the principal and all that stuff. So school life was pretty good, but then at the same time, when hitting puberty is like, you know what? At time for me to start get some girls in us. So that ego system thing just came in. You start building a name for yourself because you was hanging in with the in seventh grade, hanging with the guys that's in 11th grade or sixth form and all that. So it
You,
was
you,
just it was just a ego thing
you never did touch your
growing.
weed, bro. You never did touch your weed.
Not until I got to the end of ninth grade. I started, and then I was like, you know what, this is okay and all. And someone was like, bro, once you start, man, you don't get addicted. I'm like, listen, man, this is me. The mind is powerful. If in your mind you say you can't do something, then you won't be able to do it. So I was more of the occasional smoker. Whenever we go around and hang out or all that stuff, I was the occasional smoker. I'd get high, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't really like this stuff because then I started having some deep thoughts and thinking of a whole lot of paranoia about the people around me that, oh, this person gonna come in, he's gonna take all of them out, and I'm probably gonna be the only one that survived. He's gonna leave a message for me to send back to this person, da 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 da, and all that stuff. So, with all that being said, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just stop it. That's how we
How was you academically in school, though?
academically. I was a very educated kid in school, man.
Yeah, you know that Jamaica, they
Very.
have CXC. So how much CXC you do? How much you actually pass?
I did. I did what, seven? I did seven. I passed five. Then because the thing is, I played a lot of video games, so I never studied for anything. I
But
was like,
when you play video game, what video games does is exercise your brain. So your brain was being exercised. And you have to have good memory. Exercise your memory also. That's what it does, really.
true, true, but now growing up, I know the difference. There's a difference that you got to balance your social life with the gaming world.
Yeah.
And I was more gaming world than social life, so I was a very nonchalant kid when I was in high school. Rip, what's up, Bim Bim? I was a very nonchalant kid in high school. Whenever
Yeah.
teachers be like, "Oh, you need to go study," I'd be like, "I don't need to study. Just give me the test, and I'd pass it." But
Yeah.
I figure what happened was God taught me a lesson. Not because you're an educated person doesn't mean you don't need to study for certain things. So that's the reason why I didn't get all seven of what I did, which was cool.
So
I went to
which two subject you didn't pass? Was math and English?
No, I didn't get social studies and in science.
Those are the two easiest subjects. So what are the other subjects that you pass?
I did so I went to a vocational school. Remember, I went to Uzi, so we had vocational stuff. So I did art and what was the other one? TD or construction, whichever one y'all call it.
Technical drawing, right?
Yeah. So I
So you're an
passed
artist just
those.
like me. That mean I can draw just like me.
I mean, I dropped it for you. I dropped it years ago, man. I'm not the person I was anymore. I ain't nice like that no more.
Yeah.
So, but you know.
So you did graduate though. You did graduate.
So unfortunately, how that happened, we had a new change of dean, when riding within the graduation period we were having. And at our high school, it said if you got a suspension within the week before or the week of graduation, you can't graduate. So
Yeah.
there's a little thing that happened. The dean, he came in, he was trying to reform the school. And like I said, I was a very troublemaking kid. I wear bell-footed pants. They were all tailor-made and all that stuff. And he was like, listen, I'm the big dog in town now, so y'all gonna have to listen and dress appropriately to how I want y'all to dress. Me being the kid I was, I told him, listen, man, I've been dressing like this for years, so I ain't gonna change. So we exchanged a little words and all that. He brought me into the office. Unfortunately for me, he pulled this thing out of his pocket and was like, listen, bro, you going to do what I say or something's gonna happen. Mind you, I was still a kid. I was like 15, about to turn 16 because I graduated high school early. So when he put his piece on the table and started threatening me, the security guard looked at him. He didn't say anything. He turned away his head. So I felt threatened. So I went and called my pops. That's my stepdad. So he came up to the school crazy as hell because he was running taxi. He came up there. He went to the guy. And unfortunately for me, I didn't know that my pops back in his younger days, he was running Spanish Town from he was in Brooklyn in New York before he got deported and all that stuff. So when the dean saw him and all that stuff, he caught like a little scared and shit, and he used that as an excuse to suspend me from high school. So that was the reason why I never got the chance to graduate there.
Okay, so I think he feared he probably just punish you because he must say, "Oh, a bad man, bad man." Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
after immediately after leaving high school, like, we all know that after leaving high school, what happened? I mean, what job did you attend with your five subject? Did you look a job? Did you start a business? What is it?
No, I came straight to America.
Oh, you're lucky. So alright, you came to
Yeah.
America now. Alright, you have moved from country, Westmoreland to Spanish Town in the rural area. Now you
hmm
went to America. Where in America? New York?
No, no, I was in Fort Lauderdale.
What are they? So I mean, when you came from Jamaica, you went over to Fort Lauderdale. I mean, all the transition like you went to a city.
I mean, it was different. It was so weird. The first thing when I came up, I was like, I want some KFC. That was the first thing I wanted. My aunt was like, listen, man, you're gonna be disappointed, but I read between the lines. So we went and actually got the KFC. They were telling me about grilled chicken and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just have to cook from now on. I ain't gonna really eat out. But yeah, coming over, it made me stay in the house a lot more. Is moving to a different surrounding. The air feels different. You're seeing more different sets of people. So I'm like, okay, I need to stay away from X, Y, and Z. And then my aunt, she kind of threw a little bit of fear here and there because she's like, oh, we're in a racist area. They don't like black people. So make sure you don't stay out after certain times. Which now I figure out that she was talking about sundown. So there's a thing in America that's called a sundown city after 6 o'clock if you're black and a white T person see you, they have all authority to take you out.
Wow.
So yeah, that's one of the things I had to learn quick when I came over here at the age of 16, turning to 17.
So as a gangster from Jamaica, you done a gangster already, cause you left
hmm
country. What was friendship like?
I mean, so me they have my close ones them, but me never really really met them know some of the certain things them in the home. So really and truly, the set of gangsters that we have. The day of when my fly come up when me there my auntie had that's my step pop's son, he made a phone call. So and he was on the video call and stuff because I was in the background talking and I was like, wait. Am my boy that they hold on, just there yard yesterday. So my brother was like, yeah man, him there up here too, So when them gave me the phone, he's like, bro, you couldn't tell us you was leaving. You was literally just with us yesterday, kicking it off and all that stuff. We
Jamaican
literally had
thing,
some
man.
plans to do.
Jamaican thing. Jamaica don't tell people when
Yeah,
them are.
yeah. But yeah, they were upset because they was like, bro, we had plans. We were supposed to go do a mission, and you didn't even tell us you was leaving. But like I said, I was a very smart kid from back then, so I used manipulation against them in my earlier age to get what I want and
How
know
was
what I
school?
needed to know. What school in America?
So
Um,
yeah, in America. You have to go back to school, right?
yeah, so originally when I came up, I was like, you know what, mind you. So hold on, before we get to there. So I came up on my visa just to come up for 6 months to spend time so I could go back home, right? That was the plan.
Oh,
Day two of being in America, I got an email. When I checked my email, it says that hey, we have officially canceled your visa. Mind you, that's my first time flying to America. I've only been in
yeah.
America one single day. And then the next day, y'all send me an email, oh, y'all canceled my visa. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I ain't going back home then. So at 17, I started trying to figure out one is trying to go around town trying to see if I could get a work and all that stuff. My mom was like, you got to be 18. You got to be 18 to even work under the table and stuff. So I chilled, relaxed until I was 18. And after I was 18, I moved out her house. Because, American Jamaicans that come to America and live after a certain amount of time, they want to start contribute. They're not gonna let you live there for free. So which was,
Yeah.
fine and all that stuff. I left Fort Lauderdale.
Wait. You say you move out of the house, but before you move out of the house, you have a job or you have somewhere to stay or you have a girlfriend or some friend you had where you go.
Yeah.
Or how did you move out? Where you get a job?
Yeah, so my mom, she was already here, right? She was in West Palm Beach. She's like, listen, I got a link and I got you a job to work at a hotel. It's one of the biggest hotels in West Palm Beach. They're called the PGA National Hotel.
Yeah.
So when I initially went there, I was working as a food runner,
Yeah.
right? It was during the seasons and stuff.
You
And
that make good money?
during
You
the
that make good money? You that make
yeah,
good
yeah,
money?
yeah, I was making good money. Even though I was under the table, I was making like 2,500 a week. So it was a good and a great experience at the same time. Being 17, just turned 18, you're making your own money. You can go buy whatever you want. You don't got to ask your mom for money to do this and do that. So like I said, I had to grow up early. I didn't really get a chance to enjoy my teenage years and all that stuff. I had to take on responsibilities very, very early.
So when you start making money, you rent somewhere first, right? Cause you want to carry no girlfriend them. So you never have no girlfriend.
No, I didn't really start focusing on girls until probably I was like 19, turning 20. So since from I was 18 all the way until 20, all I did was just work. All I did
So
was work. Uh,
you never get the urge like I want some vagina. You're Jamaican, you know, Jamaican
I
man
mean,
love you.
so I did, but the problem is where I was in Florida, I heard that they had the highest rate of STDs and STIs and all that stuff, and I was like, you
You're
know
fear of
what?
them thing.
I was like, you know what? Might as well just stay to myself, bro. Just stay to myself. So that was the main reason why I didn't really pursue no girls and all that stuff. Because coming from high school as a gal, and all them something, there, bro. He's like, God, me need some gal in there, but I was staying with my mom at the same time. So I'm like, I ain't gonna disrespect her like that and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
you
just
go
hold it
to
to her.
so all I did it for you 1 year or 2 year, you never did that having no sexual activity, say or what? You are
No,
go that
nope,
all.
none at all.
That's a no star. So what was the first girlfriend like? I mean, was she a black woman, Caucasian? What was the first girl I know your wife here. We go.
Nah, man, I talk to her about this all the time. It was a black American.
Yeah.
So this is when I was at PG, right? I was a food runner. I was making a good some type of money, good money at 18, 2,500 at 18. That's good money, right?
Yeah.
So we had a festival coming up that's called the Honda Classics at the PGA. It's one of the biggest golf tournament that happens in America. So it was around that time. There was this one girl. She started working there. She was American, and we started going back and forth here and there, just subliminal things when we on the job. But then when I actually tried to pursue, she was like, "Listen, I don't go that way. I only like girls." But
Oh my
uh,
God. Woke up with that one girl, we're like, girls? Oh my god. You have the same thing, man. We got to too.
So she was like, but I got a couple friends. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put you on. I'm gonna just put you in the group chat, and then whichever one likes, then you can go that way.
Wow.
So there was this one girl, me and her, we were like talking and all that stuff. And in the first week, the first thing she asked, she was like, "So I heard that Jamaicans, they they know how to do it good, and they got a big package. Is that true, bro?" I ain't gonna lie, that shit pissed me off because as
Never
a
piss me off.
person,
That's true. That's true.
because as a person that's very educated, I'm like, bro, you can't even hold a conversation. The first thing you want to figure out is that, like, come on, man. It's literally only a week. And mind you, I was still living in Florida, and I still had the thing in the back of my head that, oh, still the highest rate of STD. You feel me? So
That
I
priest,
was
I
like,
want bad
nah.
bitch this.
I
That
mean,
priest,
she was a baddie. She was what? She was short and petite. She was like 4'11", 5 foot, I believe, brown skin. She was the type of person, she did her hair every single three days to a week and all that stuff.
yeah.
But she had daddy's money. She was driving a Mercedes and all that, and I was the type of person, I'm like, you know what? I don't like to sponge on people. So I told her, listen, we can just be friends, but the whole sexual interaction, we ain't gonna go down that route.
So,
Just
so,
bec
so,
just for the fact of how you started off the conversation when we're getting to know each other.
so basically, he's a man with value yourself. Like, for that woman that
Mm-hmm.
ask you, say, boy, you say you're Jamaican and you can't do it good or something, you just immediately, you just say, oh, this is a no-no. Our first impression last. So
Exactly.
immediately you say,
Yeah.
yo, we should start off alone. You say, boy, it's a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
This one. You don't need that one. I say, you were picky. You're a
Yeah,
picky
I
man.
was I was a very picky person, and then I'm the type of person when I give out my love, because as a tourist, we love very hard and we love
Yeah,
long and
man.
we
Yeah,
love
man. Yeah,
strong.
man. Yeah, man.
So so I was looking into it, and I was like, you know what? If I invest my time, money, sweat, everything in this specific position right here, is it gonna take me anywhere? I always look at certain things like that.
But even your wife who you have right now, a
Mm-hmm.
social media meter on. So how's that?
Mm-hmm.
How's that? 'Cause with you so picky with women, how did you meet a woman on social media and accept her and say, alright, that one, yeah, I'm married to her and all them things.
You know what really what it was? Because like I said, I was upon my spiritual journey. God is everything to me.
Yeah,
And when we read the Bible, that was the first thing that popped out. God fearing, she goes to church every single Sunday and all that stuff.
yeah.
And when I just looked at the photo, it's like God was just saying, "That's you right there. That's the one. That's the one. Don't even skip. Don't look at no one else. That's the one right there."
So how long were you dating this girl before you decided to go meet her?
We were there before we actually met physically. I think we were talking for about 2 weeks over the phone. So, so wait, let me go back. So a week into us like getting to know each other and stuff, right? Where I was, she came from her house from the country, came to the city to do shopping, and then she told me that hey, she was nearby. So I'm like, you nearby? So I was like, okay, here's my look. Yeah. Oh, she grabbing a lizard. Oh. Get your lizard, kitty, kitty. Get your lizard. Anyways, my bad, bro. My bad. The wife
It's
showed
have
me
an
some
edit, man.
interesting thing.
It's have an
All
edit,
right,
man. I have a
all
problem.
right. But yeah, so she came down. She was at the mall, and I was like, okay, here's my location. She was like, I'm really like 5 minutes away. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, okay. But she said she was with family, right? She was with family and stuff, and then we're just there, and she was like, what's your size? What size shoes and what size clothes do you wear?
So wait a
Bro, when
minute.
she
Wait a minute. You meet a woman first. We say you're Jamaican, you must get a salt her road proper. And you know one of the
yeah,
woman there. When you meet a
yeah.
woman no, we just want to buy your things and you take that the woman there.
No, it's not
You
none
know
of
that
bash,
happen?
no, no. No, 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 no. Like Mr. Bro, for the whole of the week when we was talking, we had a lot of good constructive conversations that could carry from anywhere between 1 to 3 hours. And it's not us,
Tell me like
and
that
it's
proper.
not us.
Want it. Want it tomorrow. Yeah,
And it's
continue.
not, and yeah, so we had good constructive conversations for a whole week straight where we had conversations from 1 to 3 hours. And in no point of time we were talking about SMEX, right? That never came up.
No sex. I
So
want to talk about so. I want to talk about so.
so
That's what I talk about.
we
That
talked
yours.
about we talked we talked about God. We
Oh
talked
yeah,
about the
Christian,
goals,
I'm a
the
Christian.
goals, the goals, the goals, what we're both looking for. If
Yeah.
we're both gonna make this work, what are we looking for? Where do we see ourselves in a short term and in the long term? And what's our financial goals? What are we
So
looking to achieve together and all that stuff?
basically, she make plans for better both of no life, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, my grandpa, my when I was raised with my granddad, he told because the way he told me that he met my grandma was a situation similar to like how me and her started conversing and stuff, right?
Basically,
So I was like,
I could say your heritage had a lot to do with the person that you are, the way you were brought up.
yeah, yeah,
And you never changed from that up till now.
nope, still the same, never changed. So, back to the conversation. So she asked me and I was like, I was shocked. I was like, you're the first person that ever actually offered to get me something. And I've dated more than one women before where I'm always because I believe in a traditional relationship and stuff.
Yeah, you give the woman
Once
money and everything. Yeah, make sure
exactly.
you give the woman money.
Exactly. Because my
Yeah.
grandma, from the day I was born, and I know my grandmother never worked a day in her life. My grandpa worked all the time, and he was the breadwinner. So that was instilled in me from I was a kid. So
Yeah.
she said that to me, and I was like, I don't even know, man. So I told her my size and stuff, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna get you something. I'm like, so I laughed, and she's like, why you laughing? She's like, I'm being for real. And I was like, oh shit, you for real? And she's like, yeah. I wouldn't have asked you if I wasn't gonna get some.
Yeah, so
So
you get a woman for mine, you madam.
I guess that's how you can put it. But so 2 weeks later, we finally decided to meet and all that stuff. We had a good conversation and he's like, oh, before you leave, I'm gonna go in and get the stuff that I got you. And then I brought it back home. And she did give me one of her shirts, the
Yeah.
shirts that she wear personally. So I was like, man, this reminds me of living in the country back home, man. Like I've lived in so many different cities. I literally forget how the country feels and smells, bro. I kid you no lie.
You never feel like she just a try to win you over. You never how she look? She look good
Mm-mm.
too? She never look good.
Yes, my wife is right here.
Let me see the
Wife, you
wife.
wanna you wanna come to the camera, baby?
Let me see the wife.
Yes. She said no.
Okay. Why big up the wife? Big up the wife. So like seriously, like before we get to the wife now,
hmm
you go to school in America, you get you're quite educated, right? So
hmm
explain to us, you level up, you train off level up education.
So the first one I did my associate degree first, right? I did my associate degree in website developing and coding. That was the first thing I did. But in order to get there, I was trying to go to a school in Florida that's called Palm Beach State,
Yeah.
right? And when I did the entry and all that stuff, they were like, I just gotta let you know the accolades that you have from back home in your country is not equivalent to a high school diploma over here.
Oh, that's like a subject them and them thing, the CXC.
Yeah.
The Caribbean
Yeah.
thing. The Caribbean thing, right?
So I was like, okay, cool, no problem. Luckily for me, I didn't go to that school either way, even if they were going to accept me, because I found out that they were doing some crazy stuff, giving out degrees and all that stuff undercover, and
Yeah.
they got found out and got sued. But anyways, I went to a different university. I went to Independence University to do my
Yeah.
associate. During the interview, it was a black lady, and she was like, "Listen, this school that we have right here, this is for the educated. We don't really we don't really get your kind that comes and apply for this school."
Wow.
So when she said that, I was like, "What do you mean, not my kind?"
Racist is right there, and it's a black woman.
There's a black, but hold on. So when I said, "What do you mean that's not my kind?" Because that thing shocked me, and she was like, "Hold on there, wait, you Jamaican?" I was like, "Yes, me a Jamaican." I said, you know, say you're Jamaican." So I look at her, and I was like, so you tell me you were Jamaican that lived in America, and you fall accustomed to the system where they indoctrinate you." She's like, "Well, you know, it's my job, and they really don't like when black people come to this school, so I got to do what I got to do to make the money. They pay me a lot of money." So I was gonna say to her, so you're letting money, so you're becoming a slave to money. But I was like, you know what, never mind, because I'm there to get into the school. I'm not there to read her file or anything. So whatever. So we passed that, and then she was like, okay, so these are the stuff. She get back professional. I got the preliminary exams that she was on the computer. I was in front of her because I guess you have to do the preliminaries in front of her. You can't have your phone or anything. She's like, okay,
Mhm.
this normally takes the average person about 2 hours to complete. She's like, good luck. Within 30 minutes, I finished everything. I was okay, I'm done. She's like, you finished already? And she looked up, she's like, oh, wow, so you actually know your stuff. And I was like, yes, I wouldn't be applying for this school if I never know my stuff. Because she was, you know, she trying to throw shade, so I'm trying to be petty with her at the same time. Anyways, I did my associate. I left it. They called me to come back to do my BA, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go back. But I did do my classes online. So from there, in those times, I've moved about 15 different states since I've lived in America. Right. Then
Wow.
I landed in Oklahoma. When I was in Oklahoma, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to go back and do my next degree. So because
Yeah.
I was a gamer at the time in between when COVID happened, no one could really work. I was very good at playing games. So I approached a esport gaming organization. They're called Grunto Esports. It's a military-based esport organization. But I had a buddy that was in the Marine. He got me in. So I
Yeah.
was playing video games and all that stuff, and that's literally how I made my bread during COVID. So
Oh,
moved forward.
you are a gamer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, oh,
So
how do you make money from gaming?
I stream. So I was very active with streaming on here, not like this, but like a setup for my computer and stuff on
Mm.
TikTok, the Purple
See,
app,
you are making
and
money.
on
You are
the
making money from TikTok.
yeah,
Okay.
from TikTok and the Purple app. You know,
Okay.
TikTok don't like when you call that name. You know what I'm talking about, right? The Purple app.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
starts
yeah.
with it. Start with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I have the green one and the blue one.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why they hate it so much, but anyways. So yeah, during that time, I was making money from being an esport player, and I was on Facebook. I don't remember why I went on Facebook, and I saw an ad, and it said for if you want to become get your bachelor's in being a professional gamer, where you can go overseas to play video games or be a commentator and all that kind of stuff, fill out this form. So I jumped on it right then and there. They called me, and it was crazy. It was funny. So like my first experience with the other school, the black lady, mind you, she was very crazy. She was profiling and all that stuff. And then the second, and when I did that interview with that college, it was nothing but respect and all that stuff. And the guy was like, we really love it when we have young black men try to get themselves educated in life.
Yeah.
And we had a whole conversation about the situation with the first institution I went to. And it was like, you know what's
So you
funny?
didn't get in? You didn't get in at the first institution or you got in?
No, I got in. I got in. I got in. I did my classes online because
So
I was working.
were you the only black person there or there were other people like you?
There were other black persons there, but they were, how can I say it now? They were a bit whitewashed. They were very privileged. So they were adopted kids. They were not like kids that actually had black parents. They were adopted
Oh,
kids
there.
that had, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, 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 yeah. So they were more privileged and all that stuff, and they were a lot more colorist. I wouldn't say racist. They were more colorist because of the indoctrination that their adopted parents brought them through and all that stuff. They looked at life
yeah,
differently. But
yeah.
I didn't really conversate with nobody when they had discussion groups and all that stuff. I stayed to myself. I didn't log online. I just did all my courses, and I was like, I need to get the hell out of here quick and fast. Because I already know
So you,
I'm not welcomed here.
you didn't have any friends there.
No, no.
So you're alone now. Would you say you're alone?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was alone because I was still playing video games at the same time, and I had my friends from like overseas in like Germany and Russia that I played video games with all the time. That we had a Discord channel, so I'd always be in the Discord, and I'd be sharing my screen while I'm while I'm doing my courses and stuff, and I had the other screen where I'm playing the video games. So
So you are more of a virtual type of person. Oh,
yeah.
your girlfriend is from the virtual world as well, and you
Hmm.
are mostly in the virtual reality. You're more of that.
Yeah. In retrospect, at this point. But yeah, they were really good friends, even though they didn't really know much English and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They started taking classes to learn English so they could have conversations with me and stuff. And I was like, man, that's kind of crazy. Have to meet someone on the game that lives in a whole different country, especially Russia. Because they always say Russians hate every single person, especially black people, yada yada yada. And when I was in the situation myself, I found out that it was actually a lie. It was just like propaganda. Is how the media controls and put things out there. And we as human beings, before we do our own research, we get gullible and and just run with the situation ourselves instead of going and doing our small little research and figuring out things by ourselves. So yeah.
So when what are they? I mean, have you ever since you become a game or anything? Do you apply for what business or what kind of job or what you do differently from gaming?
I got a mobile detailing business.
Yeah.
So that's where we at right now.
What's that? What's that? Explain for the people who don't understand what that is. What?
So it's car detailing. So I
Yeah.
detail cars professionally instead of you going through a car wash
Yeah.
and the car wash leaves all the streaks and all the extra stuff on your vehicle, you would come to me. If your vehicles have scratches, I do paint corrections, ceramic coatings, PPF, all that good stuff that you
Na Jamaica, they
that
call it body man. They call it body man. Na Jamaica, yeah. Let's say a
okay.
body man. Spray car.
I mean, I guess you can put it like that, but I don't spray paint the vehicles. So let me show you what I mean.
Yeah.
For everyone over there. So if you look in this vehicle, let me pull down. So you see if I can find scratches. So there's like streaks. So you see like these little streaks. There's none right there. This
Yeah.
vehicle don't really have much because this one's been cleaned. But like small little scratches that be on the vehicle and stuff, what I'll do, I'd wash the car and then get it prepped to polish the vehicle. That's why we call a one step paint correction. So we polish out the scratches, and then I do a ceramic coating with a 5-year UV protection from the sun that makes it looks like glass. So you can
Yeah.
see this has a ceramic coating right now, but this one needs to get another one pretty soon. So for everyone that's trying to figure out what I meant, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So you're running your own business right now.
Yeah,
So as a person who's educated, and obviously in Jamaica, when you're educated, they expect you to work for the government or if you have some big job. They never really taught us to, open my business. I mean, you are doing it. Are you making good money from it though?
we're making good money. So the plan is for the business within 2 to 3 years. I'm looking to turn this into a dynasty, a seven figure business within
Yeah.
3 years from now.
So are you alone work or you employ somebody for work or a wife help you with it? A wife, because I see wife here a
No,
while ago. See me not see
it's me and it's me and wifey right now. I'm not employing anybody until after the full first physical year of the business. After the first full
yeah,
physical
the
12
business
months.
recently start.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, I was doing detailing on the side for a long time. When I was in Florida, I
Oh.
did it as a side hustle. But what really made me continue to do it, so there was this Jamaican lady. She lived in Florida. She had a private car rental business, right? And she had a lot of cars.
Mhm.
So me and her, we came in agreement, we signed a contract. So that's really what helped build up my craft in getting better at detailing cars. Because where I started at when I was day one just starting detailing versus where I'm at now, if you look at both the work side by side, you can definitely see a big difference in how much I've learned and the skill that I have owned since I started detailing. And really and truly, there is how I even got into detail. So I had a mentor. He said, when you find something that you love to do, that's like a hobby. It then now becomes that you don't see it as you're doing a job. You're just doing your hobby. You're having fun. So that's when I started going around
Yeah.
doing all the different hobbies that I like. And I was like, which one can I turn into a business? So detailing was
Yeah.
one. Lawn care was another one because I'm always cutting grass and all that stuff. And then the other one
Yeah.
was a physical trainer because I'm always in the gym. So, but I don't really
Yeah.
love to work out as much as I'd love to clean cars. So I said this would be my number one hobby. So that's why where I went. I sat down for about six months, just read a whole lot of different information, got different courses to get PPF certified and all that stuff, which I did invest in myself outside of like getting a degree, like getting a certification in a skill versus having an accolades in like book smart. Because he said to me, he's like, think about it this way. If you want to if you want to be a get a contract to build a house. Let's say you went to school for architecture, right? You went to school to
Yeah.
be an architect, but you've never actually done it. You just went to school. You have your bachelor's, master's, whatever. But at the same time, there's a guy over there. We're gonna say his name is Jimmy. He's been doing it for 15, 25 plus years, and he doesn't
So you
have
have
none
the
of the accolades
experience
you
and you have
have.
the
Yes,
practical. You might have the
yes,
theory, but you have the practical.
exactly. So he looked at it and he's like, listen, I'm not going to downplay on college, but college doesn't really benefit you unless you're going in there to be a lawyer, a nurse, doctor, and all those kind of stuff. Because those are the things that you actually need the degree in order to get the experience. No one is going to let you perform any surgery on anybody just because you say you can do it and you don't have the accolades behind it. With this
Yeah.
construction, you don't need the accolades. Someone can say, hey, just go build a house. And if they see you build it good, then they be like, yeah, this guy, he knows how to build a house. So
Wow.
he made sure sat me down and looks to look at that and just really make sure that you're always praying. Because he's the type of person, he has a setup. He has a big bench that's set up. He has two Bibles here. He has his little station where he does his prayer. Mind you, this is a white man.